What?
What?
What the hell is this?
Harumph. I didn't get a harumph out of that guy.
Give the governor harumph.
Harumph!
You watch your ass.
I see you shiver with anticipation.
Let the show begin.
Hey everybody, this is David Heretic coming at you with another edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. And tonight, okay, we're coming back to the Devil Wears Prada. Yes, indeed, the Devil Wears Prada fans feeling you. Come on now. Here we go. Before we go any further, for those of you who are feeling inclined to doing all of the clicks and the likes and the bibbidi bop, do me a favor, before you do all that stuff, please watch the whole video first, okay? Give me a chance to actually earn those clicks and likes. Now, after the video's done, if you still feel like doing all those clicks and likes, then by all means, feel free to click away. This comes as a request from Brian Savino, and this is actually Brian's prioritized request for the month of October for being a silver tier member on the Patreon page. So here you go, Brian. Hope you enjoy the show, man. Brian wanted to see me react to this. It is the Devil Wears Prada with a tune called Noise. Now, have I heard the song before? No, I have not. To the best of my knowledge, this does not resonate with me in any way, shape, or form. However, there's always a possibility I may have heard the song in passing and I just don't realize it. So as always, if I start listening to the song and I suddenly go, wait a second, yeah, I've heard this song before, I'll let you know.
That's the truth.
You know me, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This was posted by Solid State Records, okay? And the video has 212,000 views. It'll get you there. Other than that, there's really nothing else left to say. Link to the original video will be down below in the video description for your viewing pleasure at your leisure. Let's get started. What do you say? Are you ready? Are you ready? 'Cause here we go. All right, here we go. The Devil Wears Prada, Noise. Short, clean, and to the point. All right, let's do this.
All right, boy, let's do this.
What if I missed a sign again? So often too insecure, thrown off by the noise again, like a vision now a blur. Closer to a dying sound. Take another try walking on air. Got me going till I make the edge. What if I missed a sign again? Walking too insecure, thrown off by the noise again, like a vision now a blur. Could have been, never know what I deserve. What if I missed a sign again, sign again? I'm existing as a ghost, but I'm still afloat. Dizzy drifting from left to right. I'm waiting for a night.
1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and okay, so it's not on the 8th, it's on the 16th. So 1 2 3 1 2 3. So it's 316, 316, 316, and then 316, 316, 316, 316. So 4 sets of 3/16. So basically dotted eighths. So dotted eighth, dotted eighth, dotted eighth, dotted eighth. and then 4, and then that would take us out to the downbeat of 4, where you could just have 4/8 after that. Okay. It's 4/4 time. Don't get it misconstrued. It is 4/4 time all the way through. It's been 4/4 time from start to finish. They've been doing some great subdivision work to give it the illusion of other time signatures. I fell into the trap at the very beginning of feeling that 6/8 feel. It felt like 6/8, but it really wasn't. It was 4/4 the entire time, but their subdivision work was so clean that it gave it the illusion of 6/8. That was really cool. That was really, really nice. As far as the chordal progression goes, 1 to the 3 to the 6, I mean, it's not uncommon. It's do, do, bow, bow. It's nothing that we haven't heard before. Lots of bands have done that. It sounds good. It's being done well. I'm just saying, I'm not being mind blown by that, because I've heard other bands do it before in the past. Instrumentally, everybody sounds really good. Everything sounds tight. Vocally, it's what he's singing is, and how he, not so much what he's singing, but how he's singing. His approach, his delivery definitely fits the song. It absolutely does. Not gonna sit there and pretend like I'm being blown away by it, but it's solid, and it fits the mood and tone and the direction of the song. So he's doing a fine job. So far, overall, I have no issues with it. I have no problem with it. It sounds really good across the board. So nothing I would change, nothing I would improve upon. It sounds just fine the way it is. Let's keep going here. Okay, so I was wrong with my tempo. I thought we were at half the speed that we're actually at. I was feeling like we were at 1, 2, 3, 4. But now listening to that groove that just threw in right there with I was misinterpreting it. So now what it really is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So at that point, we're going to that halftime feel with the snare just on 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's that halftime feel, followed by the straight ahead feel with the snare on the 2s and 4s. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that actually makes way more sense, because when I was talking about those dotted 8s, I'm sitting there going, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. I mean, now that I think about it, it made sense at the time at the slower tempo, but even then I was still going, is it really dotted 8s? If they were to go dotted quarter notes, which is what they'd be doing, taking this into account, it would make way more sense. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, yeah, that makes way more sense. Way more sense. Okay. I was struggling with it. I was, because the tempo, I'm sitting there going, is it really this slow? Is it really that slow tempo? No, it's not. No, it's not. I got tricked. Good for them. Good for them. They threw me a curveball and I swung at it. And I swung and missed. Yep, there it is. Anyway, let's finish this out and we'll get to the review.
insecure, thrown off by the noise again, like a vision now a blur. I never even know what could have been, never know what I deserve. What if I miss the sign again, sign again? I can't sleep 'cause the sky is falling. Rest in peace. The noise is calling.
Doing the halftime feel with the snare on 1 instead of 3, giving it an illusion that's going even slower. That's nice. You don't see that happen too often. I mean, I've heard other bands do it, but it's not common practice. Usually when people switch to that halftime feel, bands usually stick to keeping the snare on 3. So they did both. They did snare on 3, and they also would switch to snare on 1. That's interesting. I mean, they both work. They both do their separate things. Like I said, putting the snare on 1 gives it the illusion of going even slower. Really, really nice overall. I got no complaints about this. Let me get my thoughts together. I'll see you in the review, and we'll talk about it. Well, there you go, folks. That was the Devil Wears Prada with a song called Noise. This was a request from Brian Savino. And this was actually Brian's prioritized request for the month of October for being a silver tier member on the Patreon page. So there you go, Brian. Hope you enjoy the show, man. Okay, honestly, there's not a lot to talk about. There really isn't. I already said pretty much everything I needed to say during the course of the reaction. So we're gonna hit some bullet points and we're gonna call it a day. Let's start off with the score first. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give that a 7.6. Yeah, 7.6. I feel good about that score. Let me tell you why.
Why?
Okay, first things first, 7.6. What does that mean? Well, a 7.6 will translate to a really good scale rating, so overall I think this is a really good song. It would get 4 out of 5 stars and a B+ letter grade. So there you go, 7.6, really good scale rating, 4 out of 5 stars, and a B+ letter grade. Now, how did I come up with that score? So glad you asked. Okay, like I said, we talked about everything I'm about to discuss during the course of the reaction, far more in depth than I'm going to right now. So if you missed what I said, go back and take a look during the reaction. I go far more in depth than I'm going to do right now. Instrumentally, everybody sounded fine. I had no issues with anything that happened in the song instrumentally. I think the guitar tone was very nice. It was thick, it was crunchy, but it wasn't muddy. It just had a nice crunch to it, a nice amount of thickness to it. Vocally, I'm not the biggest fan of the vocal style, but what he was doing vocally, his delivery definitely was appropriate to the song. And he wasn't just sticking to one style. He threw different types of delivery in there. He had grit and growl, he had clean vocal, he had breathy vocal. I mean, he had a lot of different styles that he threw in there. And each time it felt appropriate to where the direction of the song was going and what was happening in that moment with the song. So I got no issue with it. I may not necessarily be the biggest fan of it personally, but it sounded just fine. Let's see. The biggest thing for me was it was the songwriting, but not from a notational standpoint. The chordal progression I thought was very easy to follow. It was not hard to follow at all. But there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that the song was predictable. I'm just saying that the chordal progression, the notation wasn't difficult. You could follow it pretty easily. What really was throwing me off and what really was the challenge for me and what I found to be the most entertaining aspect of the song was the subdivision work. So much so that it threw me off, and I thought we were at a much slower tempo than we were actually at. It wasn't until about 2/3 of the way through the song when it hit me, I was like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. We're not going that slow. We're going at a faster pace. Their subdivision work just threw me off really well, and I gotta give them props for that. It was a fine job of showing how you can take subdivision work and counting, and you can manipulate the listener into believing one thing when they're actually doing something completely different. It was really well done. Very well done. Really relying heavily on the dotted eighth, you know, the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, you know, that pattern they use frequently through the song. And I enjoyed that when they would go into the halftime. Now this is where things got really interesting. When they went into that halftime feel, like they were at the very beginning of the song, this is what threw me off. They would put the snare sometimes on the 3, and other times they would put it on the 1. Now here's the thing. When you put the snare on 1, it's a lot easier to get away with this little trick than it is on this 3. If you're gonna put the snare on 3, you really have to hit the 3 on every single measure. You really should, because if you don't, it sounds awkward. But by putting the snare on the downbeat on 1 of every measure, they were able to do something. And that is, they would put the snare every other measure. They would hit on the first measure, but on the second measure, they wouldn't put the snare in there. They had something else. They had, you know, something happening within the fill. Or they would be in the middle of that triplet pattern, that 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, and see, there's the 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. See, the snare wasn't there until the and. So sometimes they would miss the snare on the downbeat of 1 on the second measure. So it was every other measure they would put the 1, giving it an illusion of, get this, quarter time, even though it really wasn't. It was actually halftime, but because the snare was not on the downbeat of 1 every single measure, it gave it again another illusion. That's what threw me off, and that's why I was feeling we were at a much slower, at half speed than what we actually were at. That was a great job. They really threw me for a loop with that. They really did. They're playing around with feel really was nicely done between straight time, halftime, that illusionary quarter time, even though it really wasn't. It was still in the halftime feel, but like I said, missing the downbeat on 1 every other measure, it made a difference. No, they did a really fine job playing with feel. They really did. And honestly, that was the most impressive thing about the song for me. So take everything into account here. I'm giving it that 7.6. I don't have any complaints about the song, and honestly, there's nothing I would change. I think they did everything just fine with the song. I'm just not going to sit here and pretend like I'm blown away by something and impressed by something that I'm really not. You know what I mean? So, no, everything else across the board was just fine. But like I said, the most impressive thing to me was the subdivision work and the playing with feel. So 7.6, I feel good with that score, and that's where we're going to stay. So let's wrap everything up here in a nice shiny bow, shall we? We got 7.6, which is a really good scale rating, 4 to 5 stars, and a B+ letter grade. Take your pick, I don't care, whichever one of those floats your boat. Final word, final score, I have spoken. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. Hope you all enjoyed the show. Hopefully I was able to entertain you. If I was able to put a smile on your face and brighten your day, then I did my job, and I'm so glad I could do it. If you guys feel like joining the fan base, go ahead and click on that button down there. If you guys want to like the video, go ahead and like the video. If you guys want to ring the bell, go ahead and ring the bell. It honestly doesn't make any difference at all to me, but if you guys feel like doing these things, well then by all means, feel free to do so. Well, that's going to do it for the night, folks. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, this is David Heretic signing off, reminding you to stay fabulous and support each other. Later. Peace.